All right, guys. Today, welcome back. Today I have a special guest for the One Piece chapter 1023 breakdown. I have Ohara with me today. What's up, Ohara?
What's up? How's it going? It's been a long time.
Been a long time. I know it's been a lot going on recently, you know, with the the best theory you'll ever watch, I guess, right?
I guess.
You know, so but no, I appreciate you taking the time out to
No, of course, bro.
to break
I
this
think
chapter
you were
down with me today.
one of the first people in general that I worked together when I started YouTube. So
Right.
long
We go
overdue.
way
I think
back.
I hit you up I think we hit each other up like a couple of times and never worked out.
Right. To do something, it was just like, damn, right? But all right, so we finally found a time, and I think it's a perfect chapter, right? Because the chapter is called Two Peas in a Pod, right? So it's it's kind of the perfect chapter for us to kind of break it down. And basically, it's a lot that happened this chapter as well. So I think getting multiple perspectives would help too, because there's certain things where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, so I'm just gonna bounce those off you as well. But I guess I can ask you first, how did you feel about the chapter overall?
In general, I've been a very big fan of Wano overall. I saw your live reaction yesterday, and I think you said you don't see Wano having the potential to be #1 arc. For me, it's pretty much obviously it depends on the ending, also on the climax.
Yes.
But for me, it's right now as it going. For me, it's there for me personally.
Top one, #1.
Yeah. For me, at the moment, the rate it's going, I enjoy this even more than Enies Lobby and Water 7 for me.
Wow.
So, talking about this chapter, even in the context that I really, really love Wano overall, this has been close to one of my favorite chapters, definitely. I'm not sure if it's my all-time favorite. There were some super strong ones in general throughout the arc. But yeah,
give me a top
absolutely
3
up
so
there.
far.
Yeah, for sure. It's super far up there. It was one of these, it was the first chapter that I was fuck. I need to talk to someone about this for sure.
Do you think you can give me a top 3 Wano chapters so far?
I would
3.
say
you can include 957 or 956.
Shit. Okay.
you can't include those chapters. 3 chapters.
I would say 1000 was definitely up there, just because it was meant to be fantastic, and it is fantastic. Right. I would put this one in there for sure.
Yes.
And for my third one, I would say the Zoro
1010.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Same.
It was great Luffy action, great Zoro action. Yeah, I love that.
I think we have the same top 3. I mean, I was thinking about the 9. I think it was 926. That's the Kaido and Luffy. I think that was Bagua.
That was also great.
Those chapters. I forget the Heat Laugh. Was it 969, 968?
Something
one
around
of those
that.
chapters, something like that.
I mean, there were a lot of really especially in the second arc, there were a couple of really great chapters in terms of world building and dialogues, which but obviously they don't stick as they were fantastic. There was tragedy there and great world building and getting to know Wano, which was super super fun, but they don't stick as much obviously as
Right. For those, I mean, we remember chapter 1000 and Red Rock, then remember Zoro conquers Haki, and of course this chapter is so much to remember this chapter. So without further ado, I guess we can start with the cover page. The cover art request, it was just Karoo. It's Vivi, right? Somebody we love. We absolutely adore Vivi, and this Karoo is getting jealous of a flock of sparrows singing with Vivi. I miss Karoo and Vivi. I really do. And do you think at some point does she get reunited with the Straw Hats again?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw my follow-up video to the greatest theory where I interviewed the Japanese creator Yuderon, and he basically said he thinks it's pretty much guaranteed that Vivi is the last member.
I haven't watched it yet. It's funny because a lot of people are saying, "Hey, Brago, you probably should watch Ohara's video with Yuderon. It's fantastic. It's predicting a bunch of stuff." So I definitely gotta check that out.
As a small spoiler, if you haven't seen it yet, basically what he says is there's I think that is something with the world place that has even made the round a long time ago in the English communities with the devil fruits, the numbers, right?
Yeah.
And so he basically says the same thing, only he says the last member won't be someone with a new devil fruit. He thinks that Frankie is gonna inherit Kuma's devil fruit, and that Vivi is just gonna be the 10th member. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I definitely gotta check this video out because I want to see how Frankie with Kuma's devil fruit. So
that would be dope.
I mean, because I saw a theory the other day where it said that Kuma died while protecting the ship, and then his devil fruit is actually on the tangerine tree or something like that. So I definitely got to see.
By the way, this is like something like, this is unrelated kind of, but like I was curious because I don't really think I see people like the devil fruit, like Monet's devil fruit, is that with the Straw Hat still?
That's what people have been theorizing. They think that's why the people think Carrot,
but we don't know, right?
We don't know. No, we don't.
Okay.
Know. We have no idea. But I think like, Roger's base made the snow bunny theory, saying that Carrot is going to eat Monet's devil fruit, which would be,
but like Carrot is Frankie with the Kuma fruit would be super dope, especially because like, I don't know how we feel about Frankie. Like now we're talking like 2 chapters back or 1, I'm not sure what it was like, but like basically like in every fight that we get Frankie, he always feels like he has like so much leeway. Like he always feels right. I feel like people are really sleeping on him in terms of like power.
Frankie, I'm not sure how many people remember this, but when he was introduced in Order 7, people were like saying, well, if he joins the crew, he's stronger than Sanji. People are like automatically putting him ahead of Sanji, and people do sleep on Frankie, especially how dangerous he can be with all his weapons and gadgets. And think about this: he just defeated a Toby Roppo, right? And for the most part, the only thing that got damaged was Frankie Shogun,
right? Like, I was like all the Toby Roppo fights we got were like the Straw Hats, they won, but it was like fucking close, right? But like for Frankie, it was like I can still keep going after this
because he was not hurt. He was in Frankie Shogun for the most part. He finished him with the radical beam. So Frankie is somebody to watch out for. But if he does get that devil fruit, I mean, that puts him on a completely other level.
That'll be fantastic. Okay, sorry. Now we haven't made it past the cover.
We haven't even the cover story, right? Yeah. So VD's great. All right. So chapter starts out. Zoro and Sanji, they're fighting King and Queen. They're talking about the after effects of Zoro and the shot that he got. Any thoughts on that? What do you think? Do you think the effects is going to be even greater than what happened in Thriller Bark?
Right. Well, I mean, like we know that Thriller Bark and Wano are going to mirror each other, so I do think this is where Oda's obviously going with that.
Yes.
I wonder, like, I mean, I do like the idea because, like, this was obviously the fight we were waiting for. Like, Oda basically, it was kind of like, oh shit, is Zoro gonna fight King or is he gonna fight Kaido? And Oda was like, he's gonna fight both. But, like, obviously it's gonna, like, neither of them is gonna be easy. So, like, this was kind of like the thing he had to do. Give him a shot and, like, prep him up so he can like fight King. But I do generally think there's gonna be like strong consequences for Zoro. And like what I'm not sure like how much people subscribe to this. I personally believe he's gonna be out for the entire next arc. I don't think we're gonna see any Zoro fights in Elbaf.
I agree. I mean, but for the most part, I feel like Elbaf is going to be more so an Usopp arc, in my opinion, and an arc where it's Luffy reuniting with Shanks.
Exactly. Right? And I think it's going to be like Shanks testing Luffy. So like, this is like very strong. This is headcanon, but like what I want to see is like Luffy arriving at Elbaf, seeing Shanks like waving at Shanks, running towards him, and like Shanks just like with a blank stare,
Shanks
just like
pulls
punching
out his
him.
Sword. Yeah. That'd be so great.
And and then like the both crews, they match up pretty nicely, except for like there's, as far as we know, no real swordsman. So it wouldn't make sense that Zoro would not participate, but like all the other Straw Hats have to like prove their worth.
Right. I mean, be like, at that point, Ben Beckman and Sanji, then you have maybe Lucky Roo and Frankie, then of course Yasop and Usopp, you know what I mean? Like have things like that. So that would be cool. I mean, I do think
wouldn't it be cool? It's like also Nami and Ben Beckman, like they're also like the two smartest characters from the East Blue, I think. Like that was like very early on in the story.
People are theorizing like a Davy back fight between the two, which it would be a really unique way for Oda to bring back a Davy back between those two. I definitely think we have to see a clash. It would be a clash between Luffy and Shanks. Like,
I think it would, like, the way I like to see it is that Shanks is like, I think it's going to be very serious, and I think like they're going to be like, it's not going to be like a fun fight. Like I do think like Shanks is going to be, everyone's going to go really hard on the Straw Hats, but obviously it's going to be all laughs afterwards. It's like, it's
like a test. It's like a test.
Yeah, you're worthy.
I mean, that would, oh man, if it is that serious of a fight, I'm not gonna lie, I would be very disappointed if Zoro's not a part of that. I'm sure Zoro would be like kicking himself, like, oh my god, like I can't participate in this fight, right? Especially with Shanks being a swordsman, like you want to just have a go at him. So maybe that's part of it.
But I feel, but like other than Kaido, like with Kaido, like having Zoro jump in there, I feel like that because that's the first Kaido, the first emperor they have to take down, right? So that makes sense that this was going to be a group effort, and then like Luffy being the ultimate one to defeat him. With Shanks, Luffy's like now Luffy's going to be expected to be a one-on-one. So I feel like that's Luffy's job.
Yeah, to kind of hold them off. Yeah, I mean that could be a thing. That could definitely be a thing.
One thing I feel like it's also kind of like that would be super Oda-ish, right? To like try to sell that Shanks is actually like a real villain before he then like starts laughing after the fight. Like it's just like 30 chapters of like fuck is Shanks actually evil?
A very Oda thing to do. Very Oda thing to do. 100%. I agree with that. It continues where somebody tries to take out Zoro, Kawamatsu stops it, but then we saw Sanji and Zoro use some pretty powerful attacks on King and Queen, and it didn't really phase them. Something as well that they mentioned is that because people were talking about, hey, some of the Straw Hats they can still fight. Why they can just go help Zoro and Sanji? They kind of cleared that up, whereas like nobody can interfere with this duel, right? Like they don't want nobody getting in the middle of Zoro versus King and then Sanji versus Queen.
I mean, the way I read it in the Japanese even is like even a bit different. I would even go further and say like the way Hyogoro means it is more in the sense of like even if you wanted to, like you just be in the way kind of like thing. Yeah.
Right. They said we would only get in their way. Yeah, they mentioned that as well. So yeah. So this is showing just the level where Zoro and Sanji are at this point, and the level of the All-Stars. Where for the All-Stars though, like do you think in their portrayal it matches what Oda is trying to show? Because some people are a bit disappointed in the All-Stars so far. How do you feel about them?
I guess I can see where people are coming from, but like, and I think
people are comparing them to Katakuri, right?
Yeah. I think people have to keep in mind also like what we just talked about with the Yonko, like we're moving up stages, right? The commander level was kind of like what we were looking at in Whole Cake Island, and now it's like taking down a Yonko together. And the next step is going to be like just Luffy being a Yonko, and then like Zoro and Sanji being commander level. So like this is their fight, and it's not going to be easy, but I'm not disappointed that like they're evenly matched right now. I don't know. I feel like that makes sense to me. Would you have liked to see like more of a, oh shit, we can't win this, so we need to grow right now? Like, was that a sort of moment you were hoping for?
I think so far with the All-Stars, I feel like I still don't know them that well. Like it's,
I mean, we know Jack, which I think
we know Jack, Queen, right? And we got a bit of Queen, and I think the more impressive one, well, the person we expected to be the most impressive one, he's still shrouded in mystery, but I think that's by design, right?
I do think so as well.
So I think even with his appearance, right, we don't know what he looks like, his race, which we'll talk about. So I don't necessarily have the same feeling because I'm a self-proclaimed very public Katakuri fanboy, right? So I'll always temper expectations when comparing characters to Katakuri, because I'm like, is this a fair comparison, or am I just being a fanboy right now? Right? That's how I kind of look at things.
I mean, Katakuri was like he was a main character in the Whole Cake Island arc, right? Like he was like the whole point was like he was stronger than Luffy. But then Luffy, like, he decided to bring Luffy up to his level because he respected him. And then Luffy was the one who freed Katakuri from, like, the curse of his own family. So from the beginning, like, Oda put a lot more characterization on him. As in Wano, we have so much more characters we need to focus on, right? It's like you have to pick your battles. And I think, like, he put Jack ahead because he's the weakest, but we got a lot of characterization for him on Zoe. We got Queen in Act 2. And I think for, like, we're going to get more for King. Right. I feel like King might actually be after the battle's over, that we get some stuff there with him. Possibly.
Yeah. I do think people should give the All-Stars more of a chance. Yeah. It's late in the battle. I get it, but it's still early for King. Right? We just found out what he actually is. And speaking of, we have Marco. Somebody said that's why Marco got shackled in the middle of Marineford War, is because he's daydreaming in the middle of war, right? Where he's looking at King and he's thinking about Whitebeard and him talking about gods above the red line. I guess I'll ask you, with the Japanese and reading that, was there any difference in that translation. How did you interpret that?
Not really. I would say like this is really accurate.
It's pretty straightforward. Is accurate talking about. Okay,
yeah, I mean, but I think even like for the English readers, it's clear that we're not talking about like God. It's like, you know, this.
Yeah, it's like
this race of people that came from the moon. Yeah.
Right. So that goes back to King, and more than likely he's just one of the Birkins, Shandorians, and the Skypians, right? And somebody went to the Blue Sea, White Sea, and they just descended upon the Red Line. Or do you think at some point they were all living on the Red Line? Do you think there are other entities on the Red Line?
I personally, what I really like, I like the idea that there have been like multiple moons in the One Piece world, like as we see in on Ohara, right?
Yes.
And basically like every race had like their own place, and then for some reason most of the moons got destroyed and everyone came down to Earth.
Yes.
And, you know, like suddenly you have all these races mixing, and there's like war and like humans trying to take over, and then there's this one kingdom, or like this Joey Boy who tries to unite everyone. So I feel like that would be like a cool storyline. Like that's kind of like how I like to think about it, but like obviously it might be completely different, so curious how it's going to turn out. But like to me it sounds like they were basically like this race that King's part of was basically like the ruling race on Earth, maybe, if that makes or like that was their planet originally.
It's weird, right? Because I think what they're trying to imply here is that, you know, the gods that were on above the Red Line included King, right? But then I start thinking about the gods that are there now, where the celestial dragons, how did they ascend upon the Red Line? But then it goes back to also the theory of who created the Red Line, right? I think now I feel like the Red Line was not created by the celestial dragons or the world government that are in power today. It's just something that they saw, and the structure. They looked at the structure and said, this is somewhere we can go. And they put themselves in positions to rule over the people because it kind of helped and aided in their rule. Like, I don't know if they necessarily constructed the entirety of the Red Line. I think this is kind of telling me that, you know, things were there before them. So if things were there before them, how could they be the ones that created this for their rule? You know what I mean?
Makes sense. That's kind of I mean, there's like so many ways this could go. Like also in my interview video with Uderon, I asked him about the ancient weapons and the moon, and he was like, well, in his opinion, the moon is actually an ancient weapon, like it's Uranus, right? Because like if the moon were man-made, then you could literally cause floods using the moon, which would explain why the entire, you know, One Piece world is underwater.
There's so many ways we can go with this, right?
Yeah.
Just the subtle lore Oda is dropping, and then
I'm curious. Like there's definitely like some history there. Like it was a Big Mom that says last of his kind, so it sounds like King's kind of like the last or one of the last people there,
which tells me that King, they were living on the Red Line, and the Celestial Dragons, they came and wiped them out.
Which which would make it so much more likely that we're going to get more King characterization after the battle's over. Because like if he's the last of his race and like his race got like eradicated by the Celestial Dragons, well, that kind of by default sounds like it'll make him like a relatable character with like a very fucked up past, where he basically watched his entire race basically genocided, right? So,
but also remember, they said King likes torture. He likes to torture. Yes. So then it plays into the situation of, was King tortured himself?
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds like it.
Does he wear all those things because he's plastered with slave brands? And like scars. Has been branded as slave, right? He has all these scars and he has a branded tattoo, right? How will they react to that, knowing that he's someone that went through that? But then also, if he's someone from this ancient race, how much does he know?
How old is he?
How old is he? Did he fill Kaido in on all these things that we didn't know Kaido knew, right? Where Kaido knows a lot more than we thought. And, you know, his right hand is someone that was on the Red Line before the Celestial Dragons, you know? So it's a lot of connections there that just from that drop of information that we can make.
Yeah. Can I ask you something in that regard? Yeah. And like you might want to talk about it in general, but like, because I'm jumping a bit ahead here in the chapter. Yeah. Do you think Sanji's fire lag is because Judge implanted like some of that of King's race's DNA in him?
Quick answer, yes. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do think that we're going to expound upon that a bit later, but yes. I do think that's, I feel like that's where we're going. Before we get to that, what do you think of that moment between Marco and Izo? Because I don't think we've seen.
It was really sweet.
It was cool, right? It was really heartwarming. Like Marco again. I don't know if this is a thing Marco does.
Like pass out.
Right, just like in the middle, just daydream, right?
That would be a cool quirk, though. It would be funny.
It would be really funny if that was something that happened. What was I reading? Yo, I was reading One Piece chapter 511 recently.
Yeah.
And a quirk that I did not notice was Sentomaru's, where Sentomaru came in and was like, I'm the man with the strongest defense in the world, but I'm not going to tell you much. And it's like, oh, okay, you're not going to tell us much? It's like, yeah, but my name is Sentomaru. I'm the strongest man with the strongest defense in the world. Yeah, but you just told
us everything.
You just told us everything. Your name is Sentomaru. So it's like, I did not even notice that quirk back then because of the seriousness of the moment. But like, I was like dying laughing at that entire thing, man. It was so funny. But if that was a quirk from Marco, I think that would be funny. It would explain Marineford a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like it kind of built my connection to Marco a little bit, where I'm starting.
Yeah, it's a very human moment.
Yeah, a very, very human moment. And then, he's been on the Whitebeard parts for a long time. So him having those conversations, it makes, I like moments like that makes One Piece feel alive, right? Where it's not just the Straw Hats, right? It's like things happened, conversations happened. And even like I was reading some chapters in Fishman Island, Zoro and Luffy, they were talking about where Zoro went. I'm not sure if you remember that conversation where Luffy asked Zoro, hey, where did that guy send you? And Zoro's like, you would not believe where he sent me, right? And then we go away from it, obviously. But I'm just oh man, like those are conversations that's happening. And I absolutely love that. And those are things we kind of just like, in the moment, we kind of don't focus on it. But like, that's really important that they talked about something like that.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, I want to super agree. Yeah, I know some people were like already, I mean, as if the chapter wasn't good enough, some people were like, oh, like does Marco have future sight because he knew Izo was coming? I'm like, I don't know.
I'm not gonna make that jump. I'm not gonna make that.
I was like, even like I'm not putting it past Marco to have future sight. It's just like I think like this was just a sweet moment in general. It's like two former crewmates showing us basically like how all the Yonko crews have like their inner.
They have bonds.
Like, yeah,
they have bonds.
Which is kind of
nice.
You
know what I
mean?
Yeah. Because if Marco does have future sight, that presents so many issues in the story. Right? Yeah. Like, if Marco has future sight, do you know how many things in Marineford he should have been able to see?
Which is actually really interesting. Like, this is something I never really thought about. Like, I don't want your video to be like 2 hours long, but like, it's interesting. Like, I would be curious to know who at Marineford actually had future sight. And then, like, we for example, we do know that Katakuri has it like exceptionally well, right? Like he can actually, some people just have it like a bit more than normal hockey, where it's just like seeing like what the next second is going to happen. And like in a war, maybe that doesn't make a lot of difference if it's not yourself.
Yes. You have to be focusing. Like if you see something that's happening so far away that you can't even react to it, there's nothing you can do anyway. But I don't think it was never really highlighted. The only person that did any semblance of that was Aokiji when Whitebeard attacked him with hockey, and then he warped around his weapon. It's like, oh, he attacked him with hockey, he's dead. He's like, fool, like that didn't affect me. So that's the only person I can think of right now.
Or maybe like someone like Ben Beckman or something, like some of the
right.
Like the snipers.
Then Akainu, remember when Marco and Vista attacked him as well, and he was like, damn hockey users. But that's speculation. I don't want to go too deep with that because we could just speculate so many different people. We're still in the battle with Sanji, and Queen is talking a lot. King hasn't said anything, by the way. It's just Queen talking about how they're the calamities of Kaido, right, and how they're unstoppable, they're all stars. But then I think the important thing in this dialogue is Sanji talking about the raid suit, and he said since his second time using the raid suit, he's been feeling kind of off.
Yeah.
He says his body feels a little odd. And then in the same, not the same conversation, but after that, Queen basically says, oh, you're enhanced. I forgot it. All of Judge's brats, they're all enhanced. He's like, no, I'm a regular human. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, humans don't just burst into flames.
Your fucking legs
like, what are you talking about? That's not normal.
Yeah,
he's
which
like,
I love.
Like I love that because, bro, I feel like I'm Queen, right? Like we're like Sanji, like because Oda's talked about this before.
It's my passion,
like his burning passion, or whatever. Like Oda, like people don't just burst into flames, right? His legs on fire.
Which I absolutely love because like I remember like around the time skip we had like so many powers that were unexplained, and it was like okay, well, do we just accept that like there's like just some shit in One Piece that's just like
that's
anime.
Not explained.
Yeah, that's just like stuff. it's anime or it's like superpowers, but I like slowly and steadily we're getting like explanation for all that stuff. Yeah,
right? Because we have the first thing that was, I even made a video on it back then where like I Googled so many different things about rubber and friction and with Red Hawk trying to explain it.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Red Hawk didn't make sense to me. I was like, I don't understand it. I'm just going to say, well, hockey, force, throwing it back. I didn't understand what was happening there. And now I feel like we're getting slowly and surely getting explanations. I'm seeing people starting to say, well, what if Luffy's cross mixed with Lunarian? Because that's what Queen is saying Sanji could be. And, with your question you asked earlier saying, hey, do we think Sanji's, DNA or something got spliced and they used a Lunarian? Now, something that's interesting is that, King did react to Queen saying that. So obviously that's what he is. Yes. Sanji reacted the way that we expect him to react. But, a lot of people, right, his passions, whatever, bro. A lot of people are, speculating, is the raid suit, augmenting Sanji's body, where he's just a late bloomer and he literally is becoming like his brothers.
Yeah, it's kind of what it sounds. It's like, I'm not sure if Sanji might not need to wear that raid suit all the time. Like, it sounds like it might just like have awakened stuff in him. Like, that's kind of like my body feels weird since the second. Like, it sounds like every time he wears it, like his body's waking up to like his true powers.
So I was like, it could be that, which I think is way more interesting than the fatigue thing, right? Where it's like the more you use it, the more tired you get. Which
is that how you took it? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, I was looking at it from both ways, where it could be the more
positive
you
or
use it,
negative.
Right. Where I think it's way more interesting if he's being awakened and his body's becoming more like his brothers. So then we're getting that explanation. Whereas like another explanation is just fatigue. The more you use it, the more strain it has on your body. And again, how many days has it been? I mean, he's been using it frequently, and so it's like over time that could be a thing. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping for the awakening though. That's what I'm hoping for, because that's way more interesting.
Right.
What did you think about King's blade? What was your first thought when you saw the ridges? And somebody did actually tell me, they mentioned in the comment section what type of blade it was, and they talk about Rurouni Kenshin and
interesting.
Some of those callbacks. Yeah. What did you think about it when you saw it?
I did not think anything about it because I was more focused on Zoro for some reason having black Enma in his hand.
Is that black Enma? Hold on.
Did you not know? Oh shit. Like Enma is black for some reason.
Okay.
And I was like, wait, this does not look like hockey. Like, did he master it in terms of like turning it black? Like
no way. No, I think
it's black though, isn't it?
It is black, right?
And then he talks about it, right? Like they literally talk about Enma, and he says, I don't know.
They did talk. I think it was 950 something. They talked about if he does.
Like King even says black. That blade. So I'm like, or is that Zoro saying that? I wonder. To me, it feels like it's King saying it feels like Zoro.
It's weird because saying that blade after seeing King's, right? Because it's like. Because it makes sense. It's like Zoro's like that blade and his swords get taken, They're actually
all black now that I look at it, Zoro's blades. But I feel like, didn't it look different in the past when he just clad them in hockey? Weren't they like just like even the tilt? Wasn't the hilt even black?
I think at this point it's probably hockey and just an inconsistency. I think it's just hockey. I don't want to. It can't be a black blade yet. No way. That would be ridiculous in my opinion. So I don't think it's a black blade.
Okay.
I do think in this scene though with Zoro and King, it brings up a conversation of swordsmanship. I don't know how strongly you feel about that, and if you've had conversations about that in the past. People categorize swordsmen in a very unique way, and that's when they compare Mihawk and Shanks.
Yes.
Right. Did this sway how you feel about any of that?
I mean, I was already not really on board with it from the beginning, so
on board with Shanks and the Mihawk thing.
Yeah.
Or how did you feel feel about it before?
I mean, like, again, I might be wrong. Like, the way I look at it, like, I'm a big Mihawk fan, but for me, it was always like, yes, Mihawk can spar with Shanks, or could spar with Shanks, and probably as a swordsman, in the sense that, like, Zoro and Mihawk look at it, with, like, the honorable codex of a swordsman, Mihawk is probably stronger than Shanks, right, with one arm. So I think we don't have to talk about that. But, like, again, in the sense that, like, King thinks about it, like, when people say, oh, Mihawk is stronger than Shanks, like to me, it's all, like, Mihawk is not a Yonko, and Shanks is a Yonko. So, like, I feel like for me, like, we'll see how it turns out, but for me, it was always like, well, if Shanks really uses his haki and, like, his like power, like, his brute physical strength, I still think, you know, when we're taking out swordsman game as, like, the art of being a swordsman, I think Shanks is, like, still clearly stronger than Mihawk. It's, like, the way I like to look at it. And then that's basically what's right. That's basically what King's saying. It's like, well, I'm not, you know, following your Kodak. And, like, Mihawk basically respected Zoro for thinking the same way as he did.
Yes.
Which is, like, the honorable swordman. And it's like, you would, like, Mihawk would have probably, like, killed Zoro right there if he had, like, started punching him.
So that's the thing where King doesn't, he's not following these traditional forms and techniques. He's like, I'm trying to win, right?
Which I like, by the way. I like these types of characters that I fucking don't. Fuck the rules.
Love it. I don't care. Like,
we're trying to kill each other here, bro.
Yeah, like I will still punch you. And King is a physical specimen. He's an ancient being. He can conjure fire. So why would I just limit myself to just using this blade? Where
especially to someone you know is a fucking brilliant swordsman, right?
Right. I'm not. I probably can't match you in that specific field. So I'm going to use everything I have in my arsenal to overcome you, right?
I'm a fucking dinosaur. Why would I like fight you with my sword?
Right. So, you know, even though I have a sword, I'm adept with it. You can try to categorize me as a swordsman if you will, but I'm going to throw punches at you. I'm going to throw fire at you. All these things are coming. So I really like that Oda did that. And then, you know, people were also saying, well, Zoro said that he'd be willing to do anything as well. So with that, someone also mentioned in the comment section, well, hey, Zoro just adjusted, right? People are also criticizing Zoro, saying, well, does he care about that title anymore, being the world's greatest swordsman? Because he's now up against a swordsman and he's like, all right, whatever, I don't care. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win, right? It's not just about swordsmanship at this point. Does that matter to you? How do you feel about that?
Yes, I do think so. I do think that Zoro will keep his, like, honorable swordsman thing up for Wano, because I mean, we'll get into that like a bit later again with, like, the entire Zoro thing. So I do feel like Zoro has to, like, stay pure as a swordsman in Wano. I feel like you could take this as foreshadowing, though, that later on when Zoro, like, when we're facing, like, when we're slowly getting into end boss level, like Blackbeards and Marines and so on and so forth, I can see that Zoro has a moment there where he repeats King's line basically, and it's like, okay, well, this is bigger than me becoming me staying pure till the end. Like, this is now about the fate of the world. So fuck it, I'm gonna punch you.
Yeah. I know. I absolutely get that. And, you know, there will be a video in the description about Zoro and his lineage and all that stuff. So after this video, you can check it out. Or, you know, just talking more about Zoro and how we got to where we got with Zoro. I'm
definitely gonna watch this.
Yeah, you know, all this different stuff. But that leads us to Kawamatsu and him getting offered Enma, saying, well, hey, when he got offered Enma, I didn't really contest it, because even though he's a foreign pirate, quote unquote foreign pirate, he reminds me of the daimyo of Ringo, Shimotsuki Oshimaru, and they're like two peas in a pod, right down to their sword handling. They say it's uncanny. Like, they're just alike, this foreign pirate and the Shimotsuki Oshimaru. And then he also said that Oshimaru is a direct descendant of the god of the blade, Shimotsuki Ryuma. And, you know,
we see in this panel, and he looks just like
Zoro. Looks just like Zoro. And also, if that's not enough, Ryuma was a one-eyed samurai, right? So, there was an interview in the past, I think it was with Oda and the author of Rurouni Kenshin, I believe. And he asked Oda about, hey, why did you decide to make Zoro one-eyed swordsman? And Oda didn't answer, right? So now we're here where it's like, okay, there's the connection he's trying to make. I'm not sure why being a one-eyed swordsman is necessary, but it's somewhat important. I'm not sure. Did you, have you ever read the SBS where Oda talked about Kozaburo and, you know, 55 years ago, him traveling?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so basically someone asked him about Zoro's lineage, and he was like, he went into Kozaburo and him leaving Wano, because remember him, the guy that was at Wano that I think Hitetsu talked about. Oda went into the whole story about him, where they left Wano, they went on a great adventure, then they settled in the East Blue, and, you know,
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Right, and something that's interesting as well is that we always wonder where Zoro came from, right? Like, where was he before the dojo? What if that's where he's always been? What if he was traveling, like he was always...
Wasn't it said though that he traveled, like that he already, like that he, before he came to that dojo, he was already traveling through like other dojos and like taking everyone down, and then he just stuck there because Kuino was there.
It's like a weird thing, but it's like, was that just the anime or was that the manga as well?
I feel like it was the manga. I feel like it might. Yeah, and then, but like the way, I think it was more like Oda throwing like a red herring in there. It's like, oh, you thought Zoro was from Wano, but it was actually like the guy he was training under. And then like throwing another red herring in there where it's like, oh, actually both of them were from Wano.
Actually both of them, yeah, right. So, you know, it could go that way as well, but I do like the tie-in. Oda has been very protective of Uchimaru. I'll say that. Like, how many times have we actually seen him? He's a daimyo of Ringo, and they say he's a fantastic swordsman. We're in the Wano arc, and we've never seen him fight.
Wait, but he's dead, though, if I remember correctly, right?
He's dead. No, he's dead.
Yeah, they were all killed, right? Yeah.
They were all killed, but we haven't seen anything about him. Even though the Onimaru stuff, like there's something there that he's protecting, right? Something that he's saving with Uchimaru, where if he's a 3-sword style user as well, I don't know, man. That'd be kind of crazy, but I guess for Ishimaru, do you think it's like Zoro's uncle? Do you think they're related? What do you think about that?
Okay. I mean, I think they're related. I mean, like they both look like Zoro pretty much the same. So I feel like obviously Zoro is like from that family line, right?
Yeah.
Now for me, where it gets interesting is like, I mean, like if you use like Akem's razor, and it's like, what's the easiest explanation? You could go like, oh, he's just like the old daimyo's son, and then like, you know, he fled or whatever when he was a child or whatever.
Yes.
I feel like that would be boring. Like, I mean, I kind of like caps that into your live reaction chat, and you read it, but you didn't react to it. Like, I think what would be interesting would be if Zoro was actually Ryuma's son. Because like when
so you're talking about time travel.
Yo, but like we know about Toki, and we know that she jumped through time to look for the right place.
Correct.
So I don't know. Like I have like literally like I have no manga-based evidence for this, like, except that I think it would be thing. It would like, I mean, they're related from the same lineage, and wouldn't it be so nice that Zoro actually got to meet his dad, and then inherit his blade, give it back, but then earn it back? I don't know. For me, that would be very poetic. I like that the thought.
Okay.
Also, Zoro, we know that Toki had green hair, right? So maybe Momo wasn't like Momo and Hiyori were not her first children.
Oh my god! I would go down the rabbit. 10-4. I know Joy Boy is loving this. That would be cool, right? It would be really cool if Zoro
it's a bit out
is
there, but yeah.
the son of Ryuma. Very out there. Very out there. But the thing is, Momonosuke is now an adult, right? So like, crazy things have happened before. The son of Ryuma. Here's the thing. I know, like, it's interesting, right? Because we talk about, I think Shimotsuki means like frost moon or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we have Sanji, who could possibly have Lunarian genes. Yes. Then you have Luffy, who's, you know, could be the sun god. So it's so weird that this trio, they're like, it's like the
destiny.
It's almost, it's destiny. It's fate.
I would even throw Nami in there as well. I feel like, I don't know, I don't see Oda just being like, oh yeah, no backstory for Nami. Like, I don't know, I see, I see her
she's gonna get something. Do you remember the popular theory back then?
That she's a Big Mom child?
Yeah, she's
I can see that
the
as well.
daughter of Big Mom or whatever. People were looking at Big Mom's Jolly Roger and all that, was trying to speculate. But something that I liked, right, since you're talking about time travel, and by my guy Jasser, I'm not sure if you saw it, but he said one of his favorite crack theories that'll never be true is that the Straw Hats in the future were sent back in time to different points in history. So Joy Boy from the past is actually Luffy from the future, and Ryuma is actually Zoro from the future. Vegapunk is future Frankie, etc.
Oh.
What do you think about that, since we're on time travel? It's crazy.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I think it's really interesting.
I mean, really now we're getting really in there, but like...
Yeah. I mean, saying like, Joy Boy is Luffy from the...
Oda would have to sell me that really hard, but if he sold me that, then like that foreshadowing would be epic.
It'd be insane. It'd be insane if he could like write this in a way that I believe it and it makes sense. But I mean, I don't think I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. But I thought it was
Usopp
really
being
cool comment. Right. There's all these different throwbacks. Like these people. I'm like, what is going on here? But no, I thought it was really interesting. But no, I think it's cool. Zoro, we coming into Wano, we thought that Zoro could have some special lineage or be affiliated in some way. Now we know the Monster Trio, all three, for the most part, have special connections, right? Yeah. And they're not just, strong just because.
Yes. No, and reasons being. I was a bit skeptical at first, where like the Sanji thing was revealed, and then it was like, oh, Zoro probably also has something. I was like a bit skeptical because I like we all like the thought that these are just like, it's relatable if they're just regular people who worked hard to go where they are. But I like in the end how Oda tied it all together was really satisfying, and I think like with this reveal in this chapter, it was not that it took anyone by like the big surprise was that Oda actually went there. It wasn't that. It wasn't
like, oh my god, I didn't think that at all.
It's like that has been like the first time we already like saw that silhouette, right? It was like and like Oda's like Zoro saying like this Snatchu thing. Yeah, I was like, oh come on.
Yeah.
We all wanted this to happen in a way, so
yeah. I mean, I do think that's always something that anime fans in particular I see talk about all the time. It's like, oh, why can't you just be a normal person? It's just like, well, like typically, there's a certain talent that comes about if you want to be, the complete best in the world. You know what I mean? Like competing with people like that. I do think we got to give Zoro and Sanji credit, right? Because I guess this chapter just keeps going.
Actually,
man.
Zoro becomes the shogun of Wano and Momo trouble.
Oh my god! So Zoro stays back and Momo goes in his place.
Everyone quits Enma, One
Piece. Taking Enma and Abi no Habikiri with him. Oh my god. Zoro stays back to train all the samurai.
Also quick. Okay, now let's talk about it later. Or can we talk about it now, the Momo thing quickly?
We'll get there. We'll get
okay, one thing I want to throw out is like, before I forget it, is like, I know a lot of people have been very against Momo like joining as the cabin boy. I think like most people will probably change their mind now.
It's a completely different conversation now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have some thoughts about that.
Let's
I definitely
talk
have some
later,
thoughts about that. Okay. Jack is back, and he's in hybrid form. He's kind of like a centaur, right? In hybrid, because he has the legs of a mammoth.
It looks kind of whack.
It looks weird. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then he has a nose and all that. So like, I mean, initially I didn't even notice like that he was in mammoth or hybrid form rather, but Inuyashi's pushing him to that point because Inuyasha, he's in Sulong form now.
Yo, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I do feel like I do feel mostly Oda is really excited to draw like hybrid forms where he's like, fuck yeah, like I'm gonna mix this animal
he can do
with
whatever.
This human. But then I feel like with Jack, he was kind of like, I have actually no clue how to draw this, how to mix a fucking elephant with this.
How do I make this cool? Whatever.
And he just kind of like winged it in this chapter. This is kind of how this looks to me.
I think Oda genuinely enjoys shit like this because
for sure.
When you have characters like Fortrix and Hamlet, it's like there's no way that Oda doesn't enjoy these wacky designs that nobody can really guess, right? So I think I think this is something he's like, I'm gonna show them with this hybrid, right? Jack is bringing back up. It was weird because I expected Jack to always be like his demise to be to the hands of Inuyasha and Nekomamushi coming together. Finally, right, to take down this person that ravaged Zoe. But they're talking about it now, saying, and then Jack is saying, hey, you know what? I've forgiven you about lying to me. Your country's already paid the price.
That was interesting though, right? Interesting character moment.
Yeah. And well, my thing is like, was he being facetious? Was he just like saying that like, I've already forgiven you, like, but I'm still gonna kill you? Like it was like a
I don't
weird.
know, it felt genuine though, right? Kind of like in a weird way that he's like, because he always comes across as kind of like a bit like the kid, right? He was always like the kid in the All-Star gang. So I don't know. Maybe he just thinks like that. Like it's like God Kaido, and like I'm gonna do to what is necessary to like get my boss what he needs, and then he's like, well, I already, like, I don't know. I feel like he might be genuine in this moment, actually, and like not realizing how fucked up it is.
That's a very optimistic way of viewing Jack. I think Jack is like, oh, I've already forgiven you for lying to me about the samurai.
Okay, interesting.
It's almost talking smack, right? Like I've forgiven you for lying to me.
I guess you could read it at that. I think it'll come down how the anime adopts it, honestly, because like I guess you could read it both ways. Like what I got from the. Because I remember, like, when all the all-star scenes we got, it was always, like, kind of like Jack being the little boy between, like, Queen and King. Yeah, so I almost felt like him being, like, really young and, like, being, like, not really thinking about his actions and stuff like that. So, like, I kind of adopted that image of him in my head where he's just kind of like this hot-headed young boy that's, like, really into Kaido as his boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, I could... Right? And then you could kind of read the sentence as being honest, but I totally get the second viewpoint that like Jack's just a dick.
Right, where it's like, oh, your country's already paid the price for sheltering him. Yeah. It's like, and I think just off of that, Inarashi seems to even get more upset because they showed the flashbacks of Jack, him lying to Jack and Jack taking his limb. But it goes back to now he's fighting to see if things are different, right? Talking about 20 years ago. Because, for a lot of them, they had to live 20 years, where for Momonosuke and Kino, it was a couple, it
Weeks,
just happened. It just happened. So I like how it came full circle. I'm not going to lie. I expected it to be both of them versus Jack. But, I mean, it's cool seeing Sulong again. And now I think he probably will take Jack down at this point because Jack was out for a while, but now he's in Sulong. I mean, I think he should take it. And that transitioned us to Perospero versus Inarashi, where bro, for some reason, I never thought Perospero could hang. And I feel like he's just been getting the short end of the stick because he just keeps getting blitzed and attacked out of nowhere. Like, he's like, oh my God, what's next? Because
I mean, he's not weak, but he's not even like a Big Mom commander. So
giving him credit as the eldest son, it's he has a pretty high bounty, but I just don't think he can beat Nekomamushi and Sulong for him.
No,
you know what I mean? Like unless like the moon goes away for whatever reason, but Wanda and Carrot, they're right there. If they weaken him enough, they'll probably get the final blow for Pedro or something like that. But if Nekomamushi is in Sulong, I don't think Perospero should beat him.
No chance. I always, in general, like even like I mean, Perospero is strong, but like I more took his value to Big Mom to be like that of a good leader and manager, kind of like.
Right. He's somebody that I think for him, like I think he wants to be, that guy, but I think Big Mom has already put other people in place because maybe they're a bit stronger than him, where he's the eldest, he's wise because he's the only one that left. He managed to get away from the depths of the waterfall that they couldn't, right? So he's wise and he's very resourceful, but maybe his strength is not to the level of like Smoothie and Katakuri and even Cracker. You know what I mean? The fight I cared the least about here is Raizo and Fukurokuju. I think I cared about it in the past because of what it meant. As far as ideals, where Fukurokuju was loyal to the soil, where Raizo, he's more emotion, was like, I'm going to go with what's right. Have you ever seen Black Panther, the movie?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So I kind of compared it to that, where you had, the women that were serving the king. Then after he got overthrown, they didn't want to serve the king anymore. And it was just like, it was that conflict. And then someone also mentioned that for Fukurokuju, it's more so self-preservation, where it's like, hey, if I just serve the person that's in power, I never lose my position because that position never goes away. Like he doesn't care. Yeah. He doesn't care who the person is, which is a bit selfish, right? But that's the only reason why I cared about that matchup. I mean, the fight is quirky. It's one of those where it's like, okay, Oda's just gonna have fun with this. It is what it is. But I like the transition where Law's crew is like, hey, why is Kaido here? And then we just get that spread of Luffy standing with this fucking enormous menacing dragon, bro. Like,
yeah, that panel was awesome.
That is an amazing panel, bro.
Also, shout out to the guy who colored it, Woden. Yeah,
shout out to Woden. Woden does the colors, and Grace. They do an amazing job. I'll put the links in the description box down below. They are amazing. But yeah, it happened.
It did.
Momonosuke is 28. I mean, the 28 thing was pretty obvious, right? Oda's been doing the 20-year thing. Yeah. And getting Momo back to the age.
It's like what he would be right now, basically. Yeah.
Right. Like, people saying, well, just age him up to 18. I'm like, no, he's going to age him to 28, right? So now he's 28. I liked where Shinobu's reaction to his human form. She said, you look just like, and she's crying.
Odin, right?
Odin, right? And
if it was anyone else, that would be, if it was like, just imagine
it was like,
being like not Kaido. Odin. Yeah. You look just like
Kaido.
You look just like Shanks, and like Shanks winking in the background. You look just like
That'd be hilarious, bro. Like what? Whitebeard was on the ship.
Whitebeard having fun on the ship.
Oh no. That would lead to so many different questions, man.
Oh, that would be so funny.
That would be hilarious. But I liked the flashback where it showed Luffy and Momonosuke's first meeting. And I think what we can take from this is that Momonosuke growing into this dragon is somewhat an outward view of just how much he's grown as a character, in my opinion, ever since we met him.
This is actually going to be my contribution. Like, since I didn't do a chapter review, I'm going to do a Momo video this week. So
I think it's perfect because Momonosuke, he's, from where he came from, man, like the crybaby kid that, was not dependable, didn't feel like he could live up to anything, to taking things into his own hands. And now, kind of sacrificing, saying
his childhood, basically.
His childhood.
Yeah.
Saying, I want to have the power to protect my country.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's so beautiful. Everything full circle.
It's been a great arc because Momo was like born into this position, like born to the ultimate leader, basically, with Odin. And like basically personality wise, not being that person, like way too young, traumatized by what happened, definitely not like a battle hungry person like Odin probably was since he was small.
He
forcibly
didn't have to be in that position, right?
Yeah, forcibly having the responsibility to grow into a leader, other than Luffy, who's like a natural leader, right? Like Momo has to like learn from Luffy and like force himself. Yeah,
he had to learn and grow, and I think he's grown, in a marvelous way. And I like the fact that Luffy has been a key contributor to his growth, where the words that Luffy said to him, Luffy even being hard on him, in some ways people are like, all right, Luffy, maybe you're being too tough. It was necessary for this growth, right? Where he thought back to some of the things Luffy said to him, saying, you know what, this is the opportunity for me to grow, an opportunity for me to show what I can do. Like with the Chondro thing, saying, no, I'll be okay. And he figured it out, and I think, come even the Kaido moment, seeing him saying, I'm scared of heights. Now, look at him. He's going to have to take Luffy all the way to Onigashima and hold up Onigashima from crashing into the capital. Yeah. So, this is fantastic. And I just want to see Kaido's reaction to him.
Yes.
Because he's like, oh, why is there a dragon that looks like me?
Yeah,
right? And then Kaido's reaction to Momo's like actual appearance, like, wait, what? What's going on here, right? Also,
Odin's really come back. Also, it's going to be like what sort of moral boost is that going to be for for Yamato and also for the Scabbards, right? If it's not Kanjuro, it's actually Odin coming back.
Here's the thing, though. They're not going to believe it.
Yeah.
Remember the last time it was a fake.
Yeah.
It wasn't really Odin. So they're going to see this person and say, yo, have at him. It's like they're probably, you're like, no, it's me.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why Kidmon is 100% not dead. Not dead at all. Kidmon has to see this.
Yeah.
He has to see this. Probably, but he's not dead yet, right? He's not dead yet. So I think he should definitely be alive. But I mean, again, this chapter kept going and going and going. What I wanted to ask you though was Momonosuke in his dragon form. Is this a failure?
No, of course not. I mean, I never thought it was from the start, right?
Well, I was thinking back to a Vegapunk.
Yeah, no
right?
way. No way Momo was going to be like a weird... Yeah, he was just... I mean, I think there's always been like this theory that Vegapunk is not really loyal to the Marines, but like as a revolutionary, right? Like the thing he did with Kuma and stuff.
Yes. This is obvious proof now. This is obvious proof. Like he's...
What the thing is, it opens up like a lot of really creepy possibilities though, that like you could basically take any awesome devil fruit in the story now
and recreate it. My thought was, what's stopping Vegapunk from creating Todoroki?
Yeah, true.
From having someone that has Aokiji and Akainu's fruit. After seeing what it did to Punk Hazard?
Yeah. I'm more worried about Blackbeard, honestly, because I do think it sounds like Vegapunk is a good guy, but like if that stuff falls into Blackbeard's, like that's like Blackbeard's wet dream, right? He doesn't even have to hunt people. He just has to like get their DNA.
I think Vegapunk is chasing curiosity. Like it's all about, okay, what if this happened? Right? Where maybe he's not loyal to anyone. It's just about science. Yeah. So
one thing I'm going to bet you is that Vegapunk is a character. Like I don't like, I think we're too far into the story where, I mean, Oda likes introducing new, like with Emu, like characters we haven't seen before. But I kind of like would like to bet that Vegapunk is some phase we've seen somewhere before. I don't know. I feel like that's always more fun, I think. Even with like
so you
could even do that with Emu, I guess. Yeah, you could even say like with Emu that like maybe Emu is like someone we've seen somewhere before. Right? Like someone who likes to mingle with the people somewhere.
Well, no, I mean I like that a lot. Something I've been thinking about with Vegapunk is that he probably isn't human.
Yeah.
He probably could be one of the moon people.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody, because remember, they were really advanced.
Yeah.
Because even on the moon, they have the automata that was up there with the Nell that they created. And we can't forget about the dials and all these different things. They were a really advanced civilization. And it makes sense that somebody that they kept alive, that stayed back, and, you know, he's there helping the world government. That's probably the only reason why they're keeping him around. He, you know, maybe he silently has some.
Wasn't there this like in the Anal cover story, right? We did get this old dude on the same island that Frankie landed on, where he found Vegapunk's lab, and that guy was repairing the automata and sending them back to the moon.
Yes.
Did we ever get to know who that was?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, it could be in a River card. I don't know. I know there's been outrage about that. Quickly, how do you feel about it? We reached the end. I know we could go on and on and on about so many different things, but very jam-packed chapter. So much that Oda put in here, and no break next week, so that's another great thing. So we'll be right back next week in Ohara. Thank you so much for joining me, man. This was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like, great chapter. Thanks for having me on, and I'm really excited to see you try and cut this video down from like an hour and 15 to like yeah. I mean, we'll see what they actually end up getting, but you know, it's been a long video. Maybe you get the entire hour. Who knows? But
maybe you get it on Patreon if you sign up to Patreon.
Maybe on Patreon. Maybe on Patreon. We'll see. But appreciate you pulling up. But to the people, make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BaragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at Baragody.ace. Ohara, where can the people find you? They can find my YouTube link in the description below. I think there you go. Okay, there you go. You can find Ohara, YouTube link description box down below. Thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace. I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.